You're listening to the Rewrite the Rules podcast. We are your hosts. My name is Harriet.
I'm Beth.
And I'm Natalie.
You want to work towards achieving true food and body image freedom, you are in the right place.
Rewrite the Rules podcast is your survival guide to letting go of harmful societal expectations and unlearning any unhelpful beliefs that are stopping you from having a healthy and loving relationship with food and yourself.
Our mission is to help you feel heard, understood, and empower you to step out of the box and rewrite your rules so you can live life on your terms. Thank you for tuning in. Hello, everyone. Welcome back.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Yes, welcome back to Rewrite the Rules. This is episode 12, and today we are talking about what if your body changes in recovery, because this isn't spoken about enough, and we really want to dismantle the misconceptions and fear that sometimes holds people back from choosing to recover. So, yeah, we really want you all to feel a little less alone and more confident.
Yeah, this is such an important conversation, and we just can't wait to bring our opinions to you on this. And this is definitely a topic that we've spoken about behind the scenes. I think we've spoken about this quite a lot, but it's because it's just so important, and we always want you guys to feel informed after listening to one of our episodes. And we understand that choosing to recover is a really big decision. It's something that you need to commit to. And I think from my experience of working with people, and even my own experience, your body changing can be one of the biggest barriers. So we want this episode just to be informative, but also let you know that you're not alone and it's okay.
Definitely. And like we always say, recovery journeys are all so different. And just because one person has had their experience, it doesn't mean that yours will be similar in any way. The three of us are all so passionate about this topic, obviously wanting to help anyone just feel a little bit more validated in your journey, but also because I don't know about you girls, but for me personally, this episode would have been something that I'd really needed to hear back when I started recovery. And I think for myself, could have possibly helped me progress and find food freedom a little bit faster.
Definitely, yeah, completely 100% agree. And it's a difficult thought to have, but it is important for people to understand that recovering from binge eating can't come with that significant thought and goal of trying to lose weight or avoiding any further weight gain. That's something that we've said before has to be put on the back burner. And overcoming binge eating is about letting go of harmful self-sabotaging behaviour and, of course, creating a healthier, happier life for yourself. But we understand the reality of that weight and, how you might gain weight, how you don't know how it's going to go. And those concerns are very common when you're recovering from binge eating. So we really want to just have a discussion about this and hopefully calm your minds and make recovery seem less intimidating than it can be portrayed to be.
Should we just quickly define what we mean by your body potentially changing? What do we actually I think for most people it's gaining weight, right? Just to say it straight.
Yeah, absolutely. And this could be obviously in different areas, this could be bloating. This might not necessarily be actual weight gain. But for me personally, in recovery, not experiencing bloating anymore was one of the biggest ways that my body changed. So it's not necessarily all about actual weight gain.
Yeah. And I guess it's the reason why it's such a big barrier is because normally people develop disordered eating because of this need to control how your body looks, how your shape is. So I think some people think, well, if I recover, that means I'm letting go of that control. And I guess that's true. It is about letting go of that control because we don't have full control over how our body looks and changes. So yeah, I guess I just wanted to clarify that's what we mean when we talk about your body potentially changing, which is, I think, a concern that many people share and experience.
Yeah, definitely. So should we go on to talk about how, what our personal fears were and our sort of actual real life experience of how our bodies change in the first place?
Yeah, definitely. Beth, do you want to go first?
Okay. So obviously, like, there is a huge misconception about weight gain and recovery in the first place. And, you know, even before I recovered myself, really put me off recovery and wanting to find food freedom. I had a real mix of ideas about how my recovery would look and how my body would alter. So in one aspect, I thought, without binging, I'm going to rapidly lose weight. And no shock that obviously at that time that was the outcome I was also hoping for. But my fear of like sufficiently fueling my body and not being on a diet anymore made me also think, oh my God, I'm going to gain loads of weight. So I really was in like two minds about it. In my mind, I thought how my body reacted to a binge. So that would be like, you know, severely swollen ankles, being painfully bloated, feeling discomfort, my body drastically changing within a couple of hours, was exactly how my body was going to react to me actually just eating normally. I couldn't separate the two of those in my mind. So even though I wanted to be out of this like horrific cycle that I felt trapped in, I was still really way more focused about how my body was going to change. And like for me personally, the only recovery stories I'd seen were people finally getting their dream body. And that was definitely like, I will hold my hands up, that was definitely a motivation for me at the start to start fueling my body properly, because I was seeing other people just show me all the physical benefits of recovery. But because of like all the fears I had, it literally took me being like physically and mentally at rock bottom for me to just say like, screw it, something's got to change. No matter how my body changes, I've still got to do it because this has just got so bad. And I think that's why so many people don't seek help early on, and it takes like their condition to get like really like debilitating and to be like damaging their quality of life, for them to actually be like okay, I'm going to change my behavior now. So my actual experience of finding recovery was not drastic at all. Obviously, like, I do not weigh myself now, because I just have no need to, but I'd like guesstimate that I've literally only gained a couple of pounds as a whole over like the entirety of my journey. And obviously it's hard to guess that anyway, because, you know, for me, I'd spend like half my week under fueling my body, undernourished, you know, looking very like flat. And then the other half of the week, I'd spend like severely bloated. So if I could like find the median in that, then I'd say I was like literally only like a couple of pounds difference. And it has not been noticeable. Like, I haven't had to change many of my clothes. Physically, I look in the mirror and I don't see much of a difference. And that may be because, you know, I'm not body checking 24/7. That's like another like mental benefit that has come with recovery. I'm just not scrutinizing my appearance and staring at myself all the time. So that really helps. But also, like any normal human, my body fluctuates throughout the year, throughout the month, throughout the day, and I do not care in the slightest. But like, even the couple of pounds that I have gained, it's been equally distributed across my body. Whereas pre-recovery, I thought, oh my God, I'm going to gain all this weight and it's only going to go to a couple of areas of my body. And that's not the reality of weight gain. When and if you do gain weight, it will be slowly over a long period of time, equally distributed across your body. It's nothing in comparison to a binge, which is obviously what I thought it was going to be like in the first place. But my body looks nothing like it did when I used to binge. And things like bloat, like I said before, I literally don't experience anymore. So that's like my experience.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I think something that you said really sparked a thought in my mind about how I also think weight gain is a barrier to recovery for a lot of people, because I think a lot of people interpret gaining weight as meaning they're not sick anymore. And so if they gain weight, that means people just automatically assume that they are better, that they are fine, and that they don't need that help anymore. And so sometimes fearing gaining weight is also because of, you know, fear in losing that support as well, that the support you get if you're striving to be underweight. So yeah, that just like triggered that thought in my mind. But also something you said about how your body changing wasn't drastic. I think that's so important to mention, because I think a lot of people also think that if their body changes, it will be like boom overnight, and it doesn't work that way. And it's recovery. I often say to my clients, you know, weight gain isn't a bad thing. It isn't. But also, like, try to remember that this recovery does not equate to just let's gain as much weight as possible, let's keep going for the rest of our life. Like, that's not what recovery is about. Like, yes, like your body can change, but it's not going to be drastic, and it's not going to be forever and ever and ever. Your body's always changing. The whole point is to find that balance in yourself.
Absolutely.
I get it. Yeah.
So yeah, but should I talk about my experience?
Yeah. Let's see your story, definitely.
So I feel like I always struggled to like talk about my experience, because if you've listened to the other episodes on this podcast, you'll know that I have like a part 1 and part 2. And my part 1 of my like disordered eating journey, I got better. Like, a lot of the symptoms I was experiencing, I stopped. Not the like really harmful behaviors, I stopped. But then I fell straight into dieting, because at the time I didn't realize that dieting was a bad thing. And upon like thinking about this podcast and like making my notes, I realized that actually dieting was my way of controlling my weight, obviously, my shape, but it was used as a kind of safety blanket. It was like, if I diet, then I'll be fine. And it doesn't, and I was like, yep, I got rid of the really bad behaviors, the really bad symptoms, but I can just diet and, you know, I'll be absolutely fine. It was like my crutch. It was like my backup option. You know, that just meant for like, how many years? Maybe like 5, 6, 7 years, my weight just like went up and down, because that's what happens when you diet. But I think I was so into dieting, and my experience was like, oh, lose 5 pounds and gain 5 pounds, lose a stone, gain a stone. Like, it was so up and down that I started to not even recognize when my body was changed. It kind of like wasn't really the point for me anymore, because I've lost weight. I've lost like a handful of weight, like handful of pounds so many times, and gained it back so many times that I just kind of became like immune to it. So I think when I really started like recovering from like the part 2 of like, you know, I'm not going to diet anymore, like, you know, anti-diet culture and all of that, I think from the get-go I was like, my body might change as a result of me, you know, not using this like safety blanket anymore, not using this crutch anymore. And that's okay. And from the get-go I was like, my body probably will change, and I don't care. And that's okay. I trust my body. I'm trusting my body. I'm trusting my mind on this. I'm trusting my gut on this. And that really helped me. And so I'd say since like recovering from part 2, recovering from chronic dieting, I have gained weight, not drastic. Like I said, like, it doesn't work like that, but I have gained weight, and it's actually felt really empowering to be okay with it. It's my body. I'm on the same team as my body, and I'm going to be kind to it. And I see that with like bloating as well. And I think I've spoken about this. It's like, when I bloat, I now think, well, how can I take care of my body when I'm bloating? Well, that might mean wearing comfy clothes. That might mean, you know, literally saying to my stomach, like, it's okay. Like, you're doing what, like, I don't suffer from chronic bloating. It's just normal bloating, I would say. So I can tell myself, it's okay, you're allowed to bloat, and this is temporary, like, this will pass, because it does. And it doesn't have to be like this massive thing. But I guess I should also like preface that nothing in my life would have been affected by weight gain. Like, you know, my job or anything like that, like, wasn't, you know, contingent to me being a certain weight. And I knew that I had a solid group of friends, and like a solid relationship, and solid like my relationship with my family. And so I knew that no one would, like, you know, not be friends with me because of my weight. And I think this is where, if you're at the beginning of your recovery, I think it's important to kind of like think about that, like, in terms of, if you think that you have anyone in your life who would negatively react to you gaining weight, then maybe they don't deserve that place in your life anymore. And, you know, I think this journey is so much more than just your body change. And it's also like taking stock on the other things in your life. Like, for example, I mentioned about my job Like it doesn't matter what weight I am for my job. If you have a job that's like, it means that your weight is like constantly like scrutinized, and it's maybe thinking about that. Is that helpful for you right now? If that makes any sense. But yeah, I guess bottom line overall is I gained weight. I was okay with it. I gave myself permission to gain weight right from that day one. I want to be on the same team as my body. I practiced a lot of compassion. And yeah, I'm not saying it wasn't like easy breezy, but because it happened slowly, like it's not drastic, I was able to kind of like go through those motions in a calm way, because it isn't overnight. And that's just what happened to me.
I love that. I think you talking about the ultimate thing that you have to give yourself is trust in your body, in what you're doing, in the process. Like it's literally like saying, okay, like I'm just going to see how this goes. It's the only way. It literally is. Like you just have to be trusted in it. And I think all of us, and you know, especially you talking there, it goes to prove that it works. It does work. And like you said, things don't happen overnight. You don't just wake up 5 stone heavier. That if you are worried about that, that is not going to happen. I think it is really important. We are giving the raw and honest truth of course you are going to worry about that weight gain, because it's all you've tried to control in the past. That's what got you here. So don't feel shame for feeling that, you know, that is okay, but you trusting in the process and going with it and saying what's going to happen is going to happen. It really is the only way. And yeah, even like you speaking then as well about doing a job, and if you go into it and it makes you feel a certain way about your body, it's about reassessing whether that job is right for you. And I have experienced that, like from a dancing background, and I remember me talking to you about it, didn't I? And I had been doing coaching for such a long time, and I went back to dancing, and this sudden realization of this is an industry in which I've always felt very pressured with my body, and it took me a long time to stop focusing on my body when I was doing that job. But because I had the right education and I let those feelings come and I let them go. But if you are in the beginning of recovery, that's quite difficult, because you don't know whether that experience is possibly going to stop you in your tracks of recovery, because you're not well equipped enough to deal with those emotions.
Definitely. It's like, I wanted to ask you, Natalie, about like, you know, the dancing, like your experience with dancing and like your body like potentially changing. But I actually like stumbled across like a Reddit thread the other day, and it was just like a random, I can't remember what forum it was on, but someone asked, can I get your opinions on being a model? And so many comments were like, to be honest, don't do it. I was forced to lose weight and I lost 20 pounds and still got told you're not skinny enough. My hair was falling out and I still got told I wasn't skinny enough. And it's like, if you feel like you're in that kind of position and any kind of role when you know you struggle with your relationship with food and your body, and you have like your actual job is like telling you to like lose weight and like keep shrinking yourself, it's just a bit of a red flag. And like it's just something to really think about. Is this sustainable? Is this helping you? And yeah, like make that important decision.
Yeah, definitely.
Natalie, tell us about you.
Yeah, so exactly the same as both of you. I will wholeheartedly put my hands up and say I was petrified of weight gain, and that is why it took me 3 years to make the decision of taking on recovery, you know. And I could not wrap my head around the fact that how will I not put on weight if I'm eating more? Like, I'm being told to recover, I have to eat more throughout the day. I have to eat bigger meals. I have to include food groups that I have been cutting out. That's going to make me put on weight. And I just thought that that's how my body is going to react. I'm going to gain a lot of weight. But look, this is what you have to look at. I only viewed it as that because of the way that, Beth, like you said, the way that my body reacted to binges. When you're in a severe state of restriction, your body, when you have a binge, is being put through so much stress, and your body and your brain is fearing that that food is going to be taken away tomorrow, that it reacts in a way of almost holding on to it, like, I don't want to let this food go. You're going to suffer with severe bloating because the digestive processes that your body is having to go through is so intense. that you're going to get that puffiness, you're going to get that bloating. I remember I used to go on holiday and I would binge. And I remember one holiday, I actually nearly put on a stone over 7 days. Like, and that is all I was equating this recovery to. I'm eating more throughout the day. Like, come on, I'm going to put on weight. But I found that my body, when I was recovering, just naturally fluctuated. And I had to become comfortable and accepting of, this is what my body is supposed to do. You know, I shouldn't be forcing my body to constantly stay in a certain state of being super lean, super skinny, never reacting to food. You know, oh, it's winter, I'm going to eat exactly the same as I do when it's hot in summer. So my body should stay the same in every season. I found that, look, this is what my body does. And, you know, even to the point of finding how my body naturally reacts to having my periods. I lost my periods. And that was a real big shock to my system, like how I feel like the week before. But that I had to see them as really good signs. This is what I want my body to do. You know, I want to have a natural cycle. But I would say that in the beginning, I experienced bloating and like a lot of fluid, like, you know, like around my face was puffy. But this is a proven thing that in recovery, as your body, like, it's becoming rehydrated and re-nourished, this happens, but it does settle, because your body is being refed with food in which you didn't allow yourself. You're introducing new foods to your body. So of course it's going to be like, your digestive system has to get used to these changes. But as we've said, it's kind of just taking that stress away and knowing that, look, this isn't going to last forever, you know, and it's allowed to happen. These processes and how your body bloats and then it settles down, you know, the more you stress about it, 100% the worse it makes it, I believe anyway. And also I became educated on these changes, because sometimes gaining weight is what is needed. And I found as well that I felt like I put on weight around my midsection, but it's because, and this is proven, that if you're underweight, you create a layer of fat more around your midsection, because it's trying to protect your internal organs, because processes need to happen. But again, this all settled for me, and I knew that because I'd educated myself on this, okay, this is part and parcel of it. I'm gonna recover. And in the end, it wasn't a thing. Now I go up and down. I don't weigh myself, but I do know that I fluctuate and I go up and down. And you know, it's so nice to feel like I went out the other day and I put on a pair of jeans and they didn't really fit me the way I wanted them to. They felt a bit tight. I just thought, do you know what? It is what it is. Let's whack on a jacket and go out and enjoy my night. And then I took off the jacket, and normally I wouldn't. I'd be like, oh my God, my stomach doesn't look right in these jeans. But I was like, I am so done with worrying about this. I am just ready to enjoy my life. I'm a woman, and it's going to change throughout. You know, you're going to have, if you want to have children, your body's going to change. And it's just being forgiving of that. And like you say, just being friends with your body, not being enemies with it.
Yes, amen. Oh,
I love
that's
that.
Beautiful.
We've done well, girls, haven't we?
Yeah, we have, especially when pat in the back.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But when you mentioned about the fact that we're women, and obviously one day we may have children, that was definitely a thought that came through my head. And I was just like, look, if I cannot cope with my body fluctuating even a pound, how the hell am I going to cope when I do get older or bear a child, or, you know, things happen? So that was another sort of push to recover, to, you know, be able to just let your body fluctuate and just be totally okay with it without the stress.
I did this exercise with a client last week where I asked her to imagine her body at different stages of her life, starting with when she was a baby, moving on to when she was 4, then 7, and then through teenage years, 20s, 30s, and we went all the way up to like 90. And it was just such a great exercise for helping her realize that your body changes throughout your whole life, but you stay the same. Like, you're still you. You haven't like morphed into a different person. Like of course, like we change, and like we do change like mentally, but like you're still like Beth, you're still Beth. Natalie, you're still Natalie. I'm still Harriet. Like, when I'm a wrinkly old woman, I'm still going to be Harriet. And I was Harriet when I was a little chubby toddler, and I'm still Harriet now. Like, and I think sometimes that's when I get so, saddened when people are like, I'm going to lose myself, like, and let myself go if I like gain some weight. And it's like, no, you're still you. Like, you're still you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You don't lose your personality. You don't lose who you are inside. And, it's like you say, people feel like, but I'm letting go. And it's like, you are letting go, but also you're gaining true control of yourself, of your body. You're no longer letting outside rules define how you're going to eat, how you're going to view your body.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. I think our listeners will really want to hear how to deal with the changes. So I can't speak. How to deal with the changes should they happen. Can remember, guys, like, this is our experience. This isn't at all us telling you that this will happen to you. You can't. Yeah. It is so individual, and I want you to know that there's no way. Like, if you're working with anyone and they promise you body results, red flag. Yeah. Like, don't let anyone promise you what your body will look like, because you can't predict it, and it's futile.
If I could show you a graph of what my body has done, like, it's gone like, if anyone can say I'm doing like a thing, like going up and down, because like, I don't think I said it there before either. When I first took on recovery, I went with a weight loss program that seemed, a lot more healthy because it included all food groups. So I actually lost weight. And then I went through this thing of like, this isn't helping because it feels like a set of rules. And I put on weight, then I lost weight. And it's just everyone's journey and how they react to things is completely different. It's like, if you give someone, if you tell someone to go to the gym and do exactly the same exercises, each body is going to react differently to it. The same as if someone eats a certain food and then someone else eats that exact same food as them, your body is just going to be exactly the same. So that's the same as recovery. But it's never as bad as you think it's going to be, I don't think.
No,
definitely. No. And that's like the amazing thing about like getting your appetite back, being able to like listen to your hunger cues and stuff. Some weeks you aren't going to want to eat as much. Other weeks you are going to be ravenous. Like, I have days and I'm just like, right, I'm an empty pit today. Other days, you wake up in the morning, I think I'm not even hungry for breakfast yet. That's the amazing thing about getting back in tune with your body, is that every day is different. Every week is different, and that is going to contribute to the fluctuations as well.
Yeah. 100%. Sorry for interrupting the episode, but we just want to give a very quick shout out to our sponsors, us.
If you're loving this episode and the podcast so far and want to support this podcast further, then head to the link in the show notes and show your appreciation by donating us a coffee. We'd massively appreciate it.
There are also other ways to support us for free, like dropping us a rating and review on whatever platform you're currently listening to us on. If you're watching us on YouTube, then please like and subscribe.
And you can, of course, follow us on Instagram. It's at Rewrite the Rules Pod, and share our podcast with anyone that you think will love it.
We do all offer our own coaching and therapy packages if you would like to work with any of us. All links to those and more info are all once again in the show notes.
Now let's get back to the podcast.
So shall we give...
Yeah, should we get those tips? I think we went on
should we get the tips?
I think we went on a different route. Yeah, we went on a tangent. Okay, we'll give you the tips now.
Yeah. Shall we go one by one on our tips?
Yeah. Do you want to start?
Yeah.
I feel like I feel like you're bursting.
The tips that I have is that these natural reactions and bloating are natural reactions to a restoration in you giving that food to your body, and they come and go. And I think, like I said before, the more stress that you have, I think the more your body is going to react to that. And to remember that the struggle that you go through in recovery is far outweighed by the positives that you gain. I think that people should journal what they appreciate about their body, what their body does for them, and not what your body looks like, and stop body checking, because you always end up exaggerating what your body actually looks like. I feel like when you hone in on something, you make it worse than it even actually is. It probably wasn't even bad to begin with. There's nothing bad about your body. Your body is your body, and it does good for you. And also, no matter how much you body check in that mirror, it's not going to change. Like, you can't say, I want my legs to be different and miraculously they're going to change. So it's like accepting my legs are how they are, and just trying to change it into saying I like them, not I hate them, because those positive affirmations about your body can really, really help. And I think in those times of feeling uncomfortable, change your state, do something different, do something that makes you feel good, and dress for comfort when you are feeling those reactions of maybe introducing new foods and your digestion, trying to work through those processes. Wear things that make you feel comfortable. And also, my last point is that I believe that your body has a set point in which it works to its optimum, and sometimes our body needs to get there, and you might be underweight, and all of those processes, and maybe which you've lost your energy, maybe you're feeling fatigue all the time. Your body wants to get to that natural set point to be able to function properly. So just allowing that.
Yeah, I love that. That's amazing. Especially when you mention about it, like functioning properly, like all the emotional sides that come with recovery, not being stressed anymore, like, being able to work efficiently without constantly thinking, I need to go and eat something. I'm constantly thinking about food or what I can't eat, being able to enjoy moments with friends instead of thinking about food and things, maybe, like having a higher sex drive and things like that. I don't know whether that's TMI, but, these are things that are impacted.
Yeah.
So when you do start fueling your body better, and your body is able to function better in all of these ways.
Yeah, 100%.
Harriet, what are your tips?
I think my tips on dealing with your body potentially changing in recovery is to give yourself that permission for your body to change. And I think that's really about practicing this radical acceptance, because when you've been dieting for so many years and trying to control your body in just so many ways, you're kind of fighting against your body. You're fighting against how your body wants to be. I think from the get-go, just just giving yourself that permission that you're going to let your body do what it needs to do, and you're going to get on that same side, you're going to get on the same team as your body. I think it's really, really powerful. And that's why I think it's one of the first things to be addressed in therapy, for example, because if someone's starting their journey being like, okay, I'll commit to recovery, but I need to control my weight, I need to control my shape at the same time. It's it's contrasting, it's conflicting. So I think from the get-go, giving yourself that permission for your body to change, practicing that radical acceptance can be so, so powerful. And look, if you're already on your recovery journey and you've realized maybe after listening to this that you haven't been accepting, it's okay to start now. You can practice that acceptance now and give yourself that permission now, because you just don't. And I guess a sign that you're not giving yourself that permission is if you're on your journey and you're thinking I can't, or I must not gain weight. If you feel like you're fighting with your body and you're resisting, you probably are. And it's probably just making it way more exhausting for you and way more tiresome for you. So let go of that, let go of those expectations, trust. I know it can be hard, but trust your body, get on the same team as your body, and even write down what does it mean to you to be on the same team as your body. Thinking about what does a team do? They communicate with each other, they're kind to each other, they support each other. That's a team mentality. So kind of thinking about how does that translate to your relationship with your body? How can you communicate with your body in a nicer way? How can you support your body in a kinder way? How can you just genuinely just be on the same team through the ups and the downs? I think that can be really powerful and really helpful. So yeah, I think that's my main tip. Work with your body, not against your body, and you will have an easier time. You will have a less stressful time. I can pretty much guarantee it.
I love that. About being on the same team as your body. That's beautiful, Harriet.
Thank you.
I feel like
it felt poetic.
It felt like it's like you're giving yourself like a massive hug. Like finally I'm going to work with you, instead of constantly not liking what I see. And like you say, just being a team. Like,
I mean, imagine like being on a netball team and like, you know, absolutely like despising centre player. It's like, you're gonna have a hard time, honey.
Yeah, definitely. And that's not a way to go through life. Like, you wouldn't even would you treat a best friend the way in which you treat or talk to your body with that sort of dislike? No, your friend would turn around and say, I don't want to be friends with you.
Yeah.
And it would be an exhausting relationship, because you just constantly be arguing, constantly falling out. So you've got to think, you've got to think you're doing that to yourself. You live with you throughout life.
Yeah.
So just as you were saying there, it's going to be exhausting.
Yeah. And it's like bloating, for example. People are so like hard on themselves, so bloated. And obviously I'm talking about, you know, normal bloating. Like if you suffer from chronic bloating, then see a GP.
Get help.
That's okay. But you know, if you've overeaten and you're bloated, then that's your body just working as it should work. And you know, when I hear people just absolutely berate themselves for bloating, like, oh, I'm disgusting, people are going to think I'm disgusting, everyone's looking at me, blah blah blah, it's like, oh my gosh, like I sympathize with you so much, but you need to be kinder to yourself. Give yourself that compassion. Allow yourself to bloat. Like I literally, I do struggle with bloating at time of the month. And like when I overeat, I do bloat. And now I'm just like, oh, like my stomach's bloated, but how can I take care of you? Like, you know, how can I feel like, you know, like self-soothing? How can I feel, you know, comfort myself right now? And it just feels so much nicer. It just feels, like I'm taking care of myself. Just like if you're on a netball team and your teammate falls over, pick them up.
Yeah.
You wouldn't just tell them to get off the court. No,
get off the court.
Don't
Yeah, like you're stupid. You're a bad player. Why are you doing this? Don't want to be with you anymore. Like, no, pick yourself up and like comfort yourself
and be forgiven.
Be forgiven and forgive your body. I actually have a meditation on forgiving your body. Maybe I'll leave it in the show notes.
Yeah, definitely.
And does anyone remember that quote? And this is what sort of started like provoking the sort of self-love within me to just be like, okay, like I don't have to like love myself, but I can at least start like treating it like a friend. And I've literally got it saved everywhere. And it says, and I said to my body softly, I want to be your friend. It took a long breath and replied, I've been waiting my whole life for this. And when I saw that quote, like initially like a couple of years ago, I was just like, oh my God, yeah, like that's, you know, you're so harsh on yourself and so nasty to yourself, and you would never treat someone that you loved like that ever. I just love that quote, and I thought I'd share it.
Yeah, thank you for sharing it. Even like the body's response of being like, I've been waiting for this, because it's so true. Your body is built to survive. So when you come back to it and you're saying, okay, we're gonna, you know, I want to look after you now, your body will be like, yes,
please.
Yeah, I've been waiting. I've literally been waiting.
Like your body is not going to say to you, fuck off. Like, yeah, you've been treating me so badly. Like, you can fuck off. No, it's gonna. Your body's built. Your body is built to survive. So you know it's
gonna hit the ground running.
It's gonna hit the ground. It's gonna be like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, one of my points, I think, which I feel like is quite important, is to actually start like removing the stigma that you've put on weight gain in the first place. Weight gain isn't bad, but also don't be hard on yourself for viewing weight gain negatively, because the second you came out of the womb, there have been people around you in the media, like your environment, telling you how awful weight gain is, how negative it is, how if you gain weight, you're either, I don't know, lazy or not putting the work in, or you've let yourself go. And like these are the messages we're constantly receiving, you know, that our worth is based on our physical appearance and how we look and the number on the scale and everything. So like don't feel bad for feeling that way, but also let's start like working on changing that in the first place and like sort of like dismantling that. And then like just constantly reminding yourself of why you've chosen recovery. Think of all the things in your life that aren't, you know, emotionally how you want it to be right now. Maybe you are really stressed, you're constantly thinking about food, you can't enjoy family occasions or holidays or social events or anything like that. Keep those whys at the forefront. You know, maybe it has got so bad that you have lost your period, or you have started losing your hair, or, you know, your skin just isn't good at all, and you think that that's correlated to how little you're eating or the binging and restricting. Use those things as your why and just keep it at the forefront, because we are told, like, you know, your weight is like the number one mental and physical priority for you. That's just the number one focus in your life, and just maybe moving that down to number two and put in those whys as like your number one is like a good way to like start dismantling that and like moving forward. And then obviously, like I said before, just remember that your body, when it does change, it's going to be gradual. It's not going to be drastic. It isn't scary. Take it from three girls who have been through it, done it, are out the other side. Still frigging so scary at the start. Once you're in it, it just feels a bit like everything's all over the place. And then once you're out of it, it's like, what was I even stressed about? That was fine. Like, that's to like condense it. There's a lot in the middle, but it's just not as scary as we initially thought it was.
Yeah.
And the last step is get support. So people who can like reassure you along your journey, like you said, Harriet, about having like people in your life who are still going to love you no matter what. Obviously everyone in your life should be like that, and if you have got people in your life that aren't like that, get rid.
In the bin.
But yeah. Literally out the window. But like friends, family, coach or therapist are very, very helpful, just to like support you and reassure you. So on days where you are like, oh my god, I'm stressed about my body changing, or I'm stressed about this, that and the other, people can reassure you. It's okay to need reassurance. You can't always fight all your own battles by yourself. So yeah, just get in support.
100%. You don't have to do this by yourself. It's so funny because I had a client this morning and I said that exact thing, where it's like, have these conversations with people like who you trust and who you know will handle it with care. But like, you don't need to deal with this by yourself. Of course not. No. Please don't.
No, it's hard being in your own brain 24 hours a day. We understand that, and I think that's what's so important, to just accept that support a little bit.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Well, I hope this was helpful, guys.
I think it will be so helpful. And like you said, me starting out on recovery would have listened to this and been like just breathed a sigh of relief. So we hope that we're giving that to you listeners.
Yeah, I hope so much. And please let us know if you enjoyed this episode and what were your main takeaways. We would definitely love to hear, but everything will be okay. A-okay.
Yeah. You're going to get through this.
You're going to get through it. Just trust. You'll be fine. And also, I just want to say that like, you are wonderful and amazing regardless of your weight. We all are. And you are listening, you are too. So just know that like, your inequalities, you know, are there, and you don't lose them, and you're amazing. So I just wanted to say that.
We hope this was the big warm hug that you needed.
Yeah. Just close your eyes and imagine us all hugging you right now.
But yes, we will see you all next time with another topic. But it was lovely as always.
As always. Look after yourselves, and we'll see you next week.
Yes,
see you later.
Week.
Bye.
Bye.